May mother-in-law love po to.
I have said that Mum's brothers were still at home. One of them lived at home, the other had just got married when I was born. But also, the uncles lived next door, 8 of them. And as I've said, the aunts disappeared as soon as they were old enough to stay and to go and find work elsewhere. And so they just left, and my mum was looking after all of them. But it wasn't an easy time for her. Wasn't easy at all. It was true that Mum and Dad were living at my granddad's, but that wasn't an unexpected thing. Dad hadn't lived very far from Mum. In those days, people didn't marry very far from home. If it was a couple of 3 streets away, that was about as far as they went. They didn't find anybody any closer. They'd not know where to go for looking for somebody. But they never usually went further than about 3 streets away to find a bride or a husband. And my dad lived about half a mile away from where my mum lived. Only down the road. And that I don't know how they met, but they must have met because they got married. And then 5 years down the line almost when I arrived. But Mum and Dad were chalk and cheese in a lot of ways. Dad, as I've already said, was blonde, just like my little brother that cried. Platinum blonde, curls, blue eyes, very placid, fair skinned. Mum, black hair that shone blue when it was shiny, olive coloured skin, and she wouldn't have anything said that wasn't right, and she would stand up for herself, and she had no messing. And she would say what she thought. Not Dad, but Mum would. And so chalk and cheese, but they always got on well together. Dad only lived down the road, as I say, quite close to the local cinema, where you could go in for 6pence in the mornings on Saturdays and have a nice day out, because it was the miners, the ABC miners, that the kids went to on Saturday mornings. Parents could go and do all the shopping and the kids would be entertained for about 3 hours. And it was quite close to go. It wasn't as though we'd got to go a long, long way. For us, it was just like I say, down the road. And we saw some lovely films, and there was always trailers. Always a trailer. Pauline and the Perils was one of them. There was always a trailer for Pauline's Perils. When Mum and Dad got married, they didn't have any photographs. They got married on a Christmas day. That wasn't why they didn't have any photographs. Family had got cameras, but they couldn't take photographs. There was no professionals, and they couldn't take photographs because somebody had set fire to the chimney in the block that Mum lived in, and it was all black smoke everywhere. No way could they take good photographs, and so they had to do without. And we've got nothing to say what Mum looked like. But I know that she had a white wedding dress. She thought she was going to only just have a blue suit that she'd seen, because money wasn't easy come by and the blue suit wasn't dear. But my dad said, I've seen a dress. Go and have a look at it. If you like it, you can have it. And that's what happened. But it nearly didn't stay for long. They went into the church, partway through the marriage service, the vicar pulls his handkerchief out to blow his nose as he's leaning forward to do the vows. And out drops a match. He steps on it and the match lights at the bottom of my mum's dress. But Mum will live to tell the tale. The dress didn't get burned. The vicar put his foot straight on the match, but it was a bit frightening for him at the time. And then I came along, and another 5 of us. And that's something that Mum didn't expect really to start with, because like I said, I'd been married nearly 5 years when I came along. We never went without food, although they weren't very well off. We always had one hot meal a day, which is more than some children had. Some children would just get a sandwich or a slice of bread and that'd be it. But Mum always made sure that we had a cooked meal. And Dad made sure as well. And it wasn't just a few veg for us. Some families would give Dad the meat and the veg, and the children would have the veg, and maybe if there was meat cooked with the veg, the gravy. But that's as much of the meat that they saw. But not Mum and Dad. Whatever they had, we had. May not have been a massive meal, but it was a good one, and it was filling. So we had something that we could eat. As I said earlier, gas was the means of the lighting and the cooking many moons before, and Mum never had electricity put into her house until the carriage works had a bathroom put on. They took part of the yard at the back, knocked down the old loo and bin, hovel, and made a bathroom. They put electricity in to the bathroom. If you hadn't had electricity put in yourself, that was the only place that you had it. And so for a number of years, it was like that. I was about 13 when the bathroom was put on. When I was 20, and I was already married, my dad had electricity put in. My cousin came to try my dress that I'd had to see if she liked the style when she was planning to get married, and she brought a future husband with her. And he said, you can't live without electric. And he was an electrician, so he put the electricity in for them. And after that they were able to do what they couldn't do before. They were able to have electric light, and that was much better for them. They could have a television if they wanted to, but I never saw a television at my mum's. The first time I saw a television was when I went to my boyfriend's house, who later became my husband. And that was something that was not very big then. Most televisions would be about 9 inches square in a massive big box that you open the front, and that would be it. You'd see what you got, but black and white, and only BBC. Nothing else at the time. But things improved. Talking about food, as I had before, with my father making sure we always had a meal, we had what we could at Christmas. They couldn't afford a turkey, they couldn't afford chicken, because that was much more expensive than lamb or a piece of a cheaper cut of beef, and that's what we would have for Christmas Day. But I was 16, I think it may have been the year after, and I'd be 17, and I had my father-in-law to be say, would your dad like a chicken for Christmas? He was able to ask that because where he was working had given him a chicken for Christmas and he'd already ordered one and he didn't want to waste it or because he'd have to pay for it. We had chicken for Christmas. Wow! We were in the lap of luxury. Chicken for Christmas. But still not then got any electricity, it just had to go in the oven. And that's how that went.